Lil Durk just let the internet ruin his life.
They used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They be like, they be saying Sly for Vaughn. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, that song is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see the comments no more.
Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV.
For some odd reason. I don't know. Might be the water.
Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car.
Be in the comments a lot?
They kind of chilled out a bit.
Why?
23-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died.
What up, words? Your boy Charles Brown back again talking facts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Keep sending those cash apps to CLBMG. Gang, listen, the internet is a sad, lonely place full of bitterness, negativity, and complete disregard for any and everyone that crosses it. I'm going to explain why, and this is no disrespect to anybody involved to this, the victims or the accused, but I do want to have a conversation as to why I believe the internet has ruined Lil Durk's chances of becoming a full-grown adult, and I'm going to tell you why. See, what we're watching by Lil Durk being arrested, right? I want to read this article, and we're going to have a conversation because I know some people are going to say, Charles, you don't know it's a certain code and it's a certain reason that these things happen. It's a chain of events, and I'm going to say I do know what's going on. I do know what happened because it's been happening for umpteen years out here in these streets. It's been happening since the 80s, the 90s, 2000s. All of this stuff has been happening, and it's been for a reason. But some of the stuff that's happening right now, after it happens, is the real problem, right? The internet is the problem, and I'm going to explain why. So let's just get into what happened for those who don't know. So Chicago rapper Lil Durk charged with murder for hire. Chicago rapper and Inglewood native Lil Durk, born Dirk Banks, was arrested in Florida Thursday in connection with an alleged murder for hire plot. Banks, who is 32, was held in the Broward County Jail as of early Friday, but the exact nature of the charges remained unclear. A representative for Lil Durk could not be reached by Friday morning, which is today. Banks was arrested at the same day the federal prosecutors in California announced charges against 5 other men, all with ties to Chicago gangs, in the attempted murder of Georgia rapper Quando Rondo, born Tyquan Terrell Bowman. That shooting, carried out at a Los Angeles gas station in August 2022, was captured on surveillance video, and it took the life of Quando Rondo's cousin, Savea Robinson, a.k.a. Lil Pop. Charged in the incident are Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston. The charges include conspiracy to commit murder for hire, committing murder for hire involving a death, and use of a machine gun in a violent crime resulting in death. The most serious charge carries up to the death penalty if convicted. The indictment alleges that all 5 men have ties to Only the Family, also known as OTF, a hip-hop collective founded by Lil Durk, a mentor of King Von, and that's going to be a big part of this story as well. Flights and rental cars were paid for with credit cards linked to OTF, according to prosecutors. OTF was founded by Lil Durk more than a decade ago as Chicago's drill rap scene. We're going to discuss all of that. We're going to be here for a little bit. We're going to talk about it. Was gaining international attention. Federal prosecutors say the group primarily produced and sold hip-hop music from artists based in Chicago. FBG Duck, the Chicago drill rapper, was killed in a hail of gunfire on Oak Street in 2020, and his death led to the convictions of several men in a federal conspiracy trial last January. Earlier this month, FBG Duck's mother filed a lawsuit alleging Lil Durk and OTF, this is another one, and King Von were involved in the shooting as well. Lil Durk is amongst the most successful drill rappers to come out of Chicago since the genre first gained a foothold, and also popularized Chief Keef, G Herbo, and other artists. Drill is hallmarked by hyper-violent lyrics that often revolve around and sometimes worsen feuds between gangs. So, gang, let's just talk about this. What all that was saying was Lil Durk had an issue with Quando Rondo. I'm sure many of you tuned into this already know the whole story. I'm just talking to the people who don't know. So, Quando Rondo and Lil Durk, back and forth, a lot of things online, a lot of things were said, songs were made. When this happened with King Von. So King Von is a rapper out of Chicago, and he had beef with Quando Rondo. He caught him somewhere at a listening party, album release, and started fighting him. Quando Rondo's man saw the fight. He opened fire, hitting King Von, killing him on the scene, and he actually was arrested, but then he was let go, I believe, for self-defense. If somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he did no jail time because they deemed it was self-defense. I think the prosecutors didn't have enough evidence on him to say that it was otherwise. I'm not sure, but he is not in prison at the time of this recording, right? So when I tell you that the internet made this man, this young black man who is Lil Durk, go out and commit a heinous act, and I'm going to tell you why it's heinous, because murder is always heinous, but the way they did it was extremely, I'm just going to be honest, extremely sloppy. They were given the heads up by somebody over on the West Coast when Quando Rondo got to town. That Quando Rondo was in town, so they gathered up the troops. Allegedly, this is all alleged. This is all in the news media. I just read you this, so I'm telling you what's in the news. I'm not telling you something that's on the streets, right? Allegedly, they all got suited up. This is according to the reports, and they were given credit cards under the OTF banner, which is the label, which is run by Lil Durk. They were given flights. They were paid for by these credit cards. When they got to LA, because they knew where he was, they were given 2 rental cars, which were all paid for by the label. So imagine like Def Jam paying for the Assassins hotel and rental car, right? Russell Simmons will have some explaining to do. Let's just be honest, right? So the label cards were used in the purchase of hotels. I believe it was hotels. I know for sure it was flights and rental cars, right? And the flights back as well. And there was a private jet involved as well. And they're saying that Lil Durk is being accused by the prosecutors, which happens to be part of the case, that there was an informant involved, allegedly, which they have in the report. That it's already in the report, so there is an informant who was saying that Lil Durk was telling them to not have his name linked with any of this, and do not to have the private jets rented under anything that could be traced back to him. This is all in the reports somewhere, right? So with all that being said, now, like I said, I don't know. I'm just reading from reports, right? You may say, well, Charles, what does all this have to do with the internet? So I'm going to explain to you. These guys got to LA. They followed this guy around in these rental cars, which is very easy to trace. If the cops are just following the cameras wherever Quando Rondo goes, all around LA, they're going to see these 2 white cars following him all around LA as well. They're going to see them getting in the cars. Then wherever they got in the cars, they're going to trace them back to whatever airport they came in on. Then whatever airport they came in on, they're going to trace them back to where they came from, who they are. What they're going to have all of this is traceable, right? And that's why I say it's super sloppy to use your company business account and things of that nature to fund these activities, right? So with that being said, they caught them at a gas station and started to shoot at Quando Rondo. They didn't hit Quando Rondo. They hit the other guy who was his cousin, who was Lil Pop. He is killed at the scene. Quando Rondo goes crazy. He starts screaming and crying and just distraught. That went viral. And for whatever reason, some people made fun of him. Some people had sympathy for him. But Lil Durk used the clip of that soundbite, if I'm not mistaken, in one of his songs. So you may say, Charles, why would he put that in his song? Well, I'm going to tell you why, in my opinion. Because the internet had a campaign going called #SlideForVon, which was basically telling Lil Durk to slide for Von. Like, go and handle your business because they got one of yours. You need to go get one of theirs. Now, the internet is full of, let's just be honest, nerds, geeks, losers, people with anxiety disorders. When they even step out the door, they can barely look you in the eye. And these are the people that are telling Lil Durk to slide. Lil Durk went about 2 years hearing slide for Von. And there was a lot of outcry that he can't put this stuff in his raps no more until he actually does something about Von, right? Lil Tom, or I believe Lil Tom or Lil Tim, whatever his name is the one who pulled the trigger, but it was in the defense of Quando Rondo. So they were trying to get Quando Rondo. Now, I'm going to explain to you why the internet made Lil Durk get out of character, because even though you may say, Charles, he had to do this because that's the code of the people he run with, the streets, they have codes. There is no code that has to say when you go on DJ Academics and you look at him and say, they ain't saying slide for Von no more, right?
For some reason, I just don't see the comments no more. For some odd reason. I don't know. Might be the water.
There's no code that you have to say that. You're only saying that for the internet's benefit. You're only saying that so the people on the internet, wink, wink, could know that Quando Rondo's cousin ain't around no more. And low key, let's just be honest, I had something to do with that. When you wink, wink, and you look at Academics and say, yeah, they ain't saying slide no more, are they? I'm just being honest, gang. This is all public stuff. I'm only talking about stuff that's already on YouTube for 2 years. I'm only talking about things that's already out there. So when you pander to the internet about a murder, it is a problem. I'm just going to keep it real with you, dog. It's a problem. So these feds are looking at this case. The feds are looking around to see who's involved. And then they see you doing a wink, wink to Academics saying, yeah, they're not talking about sliding no more, are they, Act? This was 100% a murder for hire because the internet would not let it go. I'm just being honest with you. The internet pressured this man. Now I get it. If he was going to do it, he was going to do it anyway, gang. Don't misconstrue what I'm telling you. This guy's a millionaire that can do anything. The dumbest thing in the world would be to do a murder for hire and to do it so sloppy by flying out 5 guys from a different state into California and buy them rental cars and have them go around the city following them on camera and getting everything on camera. Now, it doesn't stop there. There's an informant as well, right? I'm not going to discuss the informant, but there is an informant. There's information about the informant. If you want to know, go look it up. There is an informant who allegedly wore a wire for quite some time, quite a few months, and caught up some stuff on tape that locked the case airtight, right? So there's more to this that meets the eye. But at the end of the day, a millionaire who has a Grammy, right, with J. Cole, this guy has the entire world to live for. He's about to drop an album in about a month, but he knew this was coming. He knew the indictment was coming. He already knew there was an informant. He tried to change his life around and started doing a lot of stuff for the community, which I'm not saying he tried. He did change his life. He turned his life around and started doing a lot of things for the community, but I think it was in preparation for this indictment. Now, you're going to say, Charles, you still haven't explained why the internet did this, because I believe, even though he was going to do this anyway, him going online and saying, you're not saying slide for Von no more, are you? That's for us. That's for us. That's for the internet land to be like, oh, he a real one. He slid. That was for us, gang. That was for all you guys that's doing the hashtags. And I'm going to be honest, I really thought Durk was smarter. I thought Herbo was smarter. And I'm starting to learn, bro, like, when you're from these streets like me and the other people, and when you choose your paths when you're young, sometimes you don't turn them off. You can't turn them off. He was literally indoctrinated in the life that he lived. So by him getting money, that doesn't absolve him. That makes it worse. Because now you got to supply the guns, the money. Now you're the head of this. You got to put the battery in this. When something needs to happen, you got to pay for it. It's different. A lot of people, you're supposed to use that money to get away from the gangs, right? Sometimes you see these rappers, they get the money, they buy a mansion, they move out the hood. They don't never come back. be honest. Ask yourself honestly, there's a good 10, 15 rappers you know off the top of your head that got that bag and they moved out. Way out. You can't get to their house. You don't even know where it is no more. But some of these rappers still put a foot in and keep a foot in. And they ain't going to change. And they good with going to the feds. Right? Some of these rappers, just that's their mentality. Now, I say the songs making fun of this murder, right? If they exist, I'm sure you know that they do. I'm saying that the interviews and the guys running around that did this contributed to this being what it is. Now we're looking at guys who are probably never getting out of prison. This is a millionaire rapper sleeping on the finest of satin sheets and traveling the world first class. Now he's sitting in a jail cell waiting for extradition. And dog, I just really don't. These rappers do get out. They get out sometimes and go on to make wise decisions. Lord willing, he will too. Hopefully, if this is a mistake and this is all like conjecture that cannot be proven. But he might not. Now, let's dig deeper. If you could stay with me for a minute. Why was this so necessary to spring this trap so far from home on such a short notice? Why? They got tipped off by some people that don't take the tipping off lightly. Let's just be honest. So if we tipped you, that means we expect you to move. I'm just being honest. And the simple fact of the matter is, when you go move so fast, you're going to make mistakes. I wish these young black men would understand what's at stake now. What's at stake now? And I'm going to go even further. If you guys are really in a very dangerous situation such as this, there is absolutely no reason to go online and speak on it ever. That is only for the internet to be entertained by you. And that is only for your clout to increase. There is no reason to ever point at yourself in a situation this serious. The internet is not an important place. It is not an important place. Most of these guys, they don't even understand what you're going through. You should never pander to this place, this weird, insane, goofy place of people that almost have no life. You're pandering to these people to make them think you're some kind of G. And you're willing to do 30 years so that we know that you're real. It does not make any sense. You're leaving your kids, your fiance. Half of these dudes is snitching, if not all. Not to mention, they're saying they were offered or promised X amount of dollars in record deals. So these guys are flying across the country for record deals and money. And now they locked up, probably never going to get out again. And I guarantee you most of the evidence is going to come from social media. I guarantee you. Half of the stuff that they got on these people will be in their stories. It will be in their songs. It will be in their chats, their DMs. Pictures are going to be shared in those social media DMs that are very instrumental to the case. I guarantee you the internet has destroyed these young men's lives. I'm going to be honest. I promise you, this is 100% the fault of the internet. Without the internet, we have no idea this even happened or how it happened. We got way too much information about what Little Durk said and did and who did what, the names of the killers. Every single murder that has happened in the last 10 years to a high-profile person has been solved. Every single one. Pop Smoke, XXXTentacion, PNB Rock. Pretty much every single one of those high-profile rapper murders have been solved. And a lot of times it's because the person went online and showed a wad of money. They said something in a tweet. They said something on Instagram that directly correlated to the case, trying to prove something to people who could care less. Because first they were saying slide for Vaughn, And now they're saying, damn, that was dumb. So you can't do anything for these people because they really don't care about you. Right? They really don't care about you. A lot of these rappers are in jail right now. A lot of high-profile celebrities are in jail right now over trying to prove to this miscellaneous internet that they're somehow hard and somehow stamped in these streets. The streets literally don't mean anything. I'm just being honest with you. Because if the streets meant something, there wouldn't be an informant with a wire on them telling them that that guy did it. And on that note, I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. I hope I ain't offend nobody. I'm not here to offend nobody. I'm just telling you the facts. I'm here to talk about the news, hip-hop in regards to hip-hop artists, rap stars, and things that affect us directly in this community. And this is one of those things that these kids got to start to understand. All this drill stuff is great until it ain't. And you sitting in prison crying at night because you don't want to be there. But it was all cool to spin the block and double back and shoot somebody and hit somebody. And now you got to deal with the consequences. When you get $1 million, there is absolutely no reason for anyone to come to your door with handcuffs. And I'm going to leave it at that. CLB MG. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.